Good afternoon, and welcome to another Tuesday with Terry. My name is Terry, and we're going to go ahead and get started. We're talking to you live from Austin, Texas, where the barbecue is good, the people are friendly, and all the drinks are free down here. So come on over and visit us here in Austin, Texas. I've been talking a lot about how I got started. And a lot of people come to me and say, Terry, what is your secret sauce, or what's the secret to some of your success? And I always respond with the same thing. I always respond with, it's about putting a good group of people and the ability to put a good group of people around you. And how do you do that, and what does that really mean? But I have this phrase, I have a quote, I've been using it for 20 plus years, and it goes like this: if you want to change some things in your life, you're probably going to have to change some things in your life. And so when I look at putting good people around me, where I start is I start with myself. And I have some ideas I'd like to share with you today about maybe some things that you can look at for your own personal life and keeping perspective on things. You know, all of us at some point or other have had success in our lives, and you've won the race, you accomplished, you got the job, you finished the book. As big or as little as that success is, you've had some success. I'm sure you can think back about a few times in your life when that's happened. On the opposite side of that, there have been times in our life when we've struggled or we've gone through adversity. It's interesting to hear people talk to me about my success, but a lot of people see my success, but they don't necessarily see some of the adversity or some of the problems or the trials and tribulations that I've had along the way, because they haven't been with me for the whole way. In any case, as you go through these periods in your life, when you're at the, having success, you feel like you're at the top of a mountain, biting into a York peppermint patty with a cool breeze rolling through your hair, whatever it is, But when you're in the valley, perspective and things significantly change. And so I'm going to share with you about a time in my life when things were tough, when I was going through some adversity, and some things that I did to try and help change that. And the reason I say change is because if you want to change some things in your life, you're probably going to have to change some things in your life. And so what was happening is I was going through a divorce at the time, and I was looking at things that were happening, and I'd also had just recently lost a job, and things weren't looking too good for me. And so what happened was I sat down with a piece of paper, and I decided that I really had to try to change some things. And I said, what do I really want to change? So what I did is I took out a blank sheet of paper and I drew a big circle on that piece of paper, and I cut that piece of paper up into different pie, like a pie shape. I cut it up into 8, 10 different pieces. And inside of those pieces of, the pie, I would write down different parts of my life. So I wrote down money, and I put the dollar sign down there. I'd write down my daughter. I'd write down the word my friends. I wrote down my family. I wrote down my career. I wrote down my companion, because at the time, like I said, I was going through a divorce. I didn't have a companion, but I didn't want to put a wife. I didn't want to put a spouse. I just wanted to I really was looking for companionship. I put down my health, my fitness level. And then also I put down, instead of my spirituality, I call it my soul. I needed to feed my soul. I needed to have a piece of my soul that was being fed. And so in any case, what I would do is on a weekly basis, I would go in, look at that pie graph, and I would rank each of these areas of my life on a scale of 1 to 10. If things were going fantastic, then I would rate it a 9, 8, 9, or 10. If they were average, a 5, 6, or 7. And if they weren't going too well, it was a 2, 3, or 4 for me. And so what would happen is, as I began to do that, what I was able to identify was there are some things in my life that were actually going relatively well. My career, maybe not going so well. My companionship, not going so well. But my health, my fitness, my relationship with my daughter, my relationship with my friends, with my family. And so what this did for me is it started to give me perspective. Perspective that everything in my life wasn't going bad, but there were some things in my life that were going good and some things in my life that weren't going so good, but it gave me perspective. And in essence, what you focus on is what you think about. And if you think about you lost your job and that's the only thing you think about, then everything in your world is upside down. But if you think about that maybe you lost your job and you also have a good family that loves and cares about you, you have children that depend on you and care about you, if you have if you're feeding your soul in any way that you do that, there are good things still happening in your life. You can always find the good. And I tell people this all the time. You need to sit down with a list, a blank sheet of paper, and you need to write down all the good things that are happening in your life. And people say, well, there's nothing good happening in my life. And I said, that's not true. Number one, you woke up this morning. That's a good thing. You could be 6 feet under. That's not so good. You got, again, everybody's in a different situation, but you have a job. That's a good thing. You have a paying job. That's a good thing. You get to work inside instead of outside. In the Texas heat, you don't necessarily want to be outside. You want to be where it's air conditioned, so you can be thankful for that. You can be thankful that you have the use of your arms and your legs and your eyes and your ears. Can you imagine trying to go about your business without those faculties? I mean, it could be a lot worse than what it is. And so all I'm suggesting is sometimes we think about the bad things, and you need to even that out, and you need to put a list of all the good things and the things that you're grateful for, the things that are going good in your life, because I'm telling you, there are, in fact, things that are going good in your life. Then what I would do is I had that circle of different parts of my life. If something wasn't going good, I would say to myself, if it was a 3, 4, or 5, or even a 5, 6, or 7, I would say, what can I do this week to do one thing to make a change? So in my companionship, if somebody invited me to go out or to meet with a group of people, I didn't necessarily feel like doing that because I was feeling sorry for myself. I was feeling bad about my divorce. I wasn't emotionally ready to meet anybody. But what I would do is I wrote down that if someone invites you out this week, you say yes. I actually started looking for a new church to attend, and I would go out and try to find a non-denominational church, and I visited multiple churches. All I had to do was visit one church a week. If it was my health, all I had to do is get my workouts in, every other day, 3 or 4 times in the week. Simple little things, even financially. Am I looking at my investments? Am I looking at my savings? Am I looking and balancing my checkbook? Really small little things that I could go back to, because I'm telling you, when you work out, when you spend time with your friends, when you do the things to improve your life, you are building a healthy self-image. That gives you perspective, and that makes changes. It's those small little fundamental changes that you do every day that creates good habits. And in essence, over the course of 60 or 90 days, your life begins to change. I tell my friends this all the time, by the way, is that, to everything in life, there is a season, right? We hear the good book. If you read the good book, that's what that says. But to everything in life, there is a season. A season is about 90 days. So I'm just sharing with you, if you're going through a tough time right now in your life, it's probably about 90 days of tough time. Things are never as good or as bad as they seem. Sometimes you think things are going fantastic, they're going great, and the reality of that is they're probably not going quite as great as you think they are. And the same is true on the opposite side of that. When things are bad, they're probably not really going quite as bad as you think they are. So to sum it up today, I'll call it my lesson in life, is people make a difference, number one. But mostly when you start with people, you got to start with yourself. How do you get perspective on your life? Take a look at all the components of your life and begin to rate those and find out what's the 1 or 2 things this week that I can do to make a change, to have a positive influence, to build a strong and healthy foundation for the next 30, 60, or 90 days. If you want to change some things in your life, you're probably going to have to change some things in your life. My name's Terry. I'm your friend. Tune in again next Tuesday. We'll have a little bit more on the people side of the business.